warm though. He's probably enjoying it. What's he doing?
I think he really wants to stay warm.
Yeah, he wants to be warm. He's holding on to it. He's got a pretty good grip on that scarf there. You know what? Let's go ahead and take it off. He can have it. All right. I mean, he could be his own like scarf. I could try wearing him, except that I don't think he'd be very warm.
I don't think so because he might tighten you.
Well, I mean, yeah, a snake this size is strong enough to break my fingers if you wanted to. Like, snakes are very muscular animals. They have a lot of muscle. They do have a skeleton. There are some kids that ask if they have skeletons, and it's very easy to describe. It's it's a very specialized skull. How about you right there?
What are the skin made out of?
What's the skin made out of? Same kind of stuff your skin's made out of. It's keratin. Like you have different types of keratin on you. You have keratin fibers like in your skin that gives it like some stretchiness and stuff. Your fingernails and your hair got keratin in it. His scales are made out of keratin, like stuff you find in fingernails. It's like a harder kind. And then he's got like a stretchier skin that's kind of in between the scales. That's just more of it. It's just a different type. But yeah, that's what the scales are made out of. You have another one though?
Is his stomach slimy?
Like the inside of his stomach? Or are you talking about like his belly?
Belly.
Those ones? Those are actually super smooth. Snake scales on their stomach down here, those are almost frictionless. And the reason for that is because they don't have arms and legs and they're sliding along the ground. The less friction they have down there, the easier it is for them to slide their body down.
He's holding on to the skull.
You can drop it. He doesn't want to. He's got a pretty good grip on it there.
Get off of it.
But yeah, like his belly scales aren't slimy. They're just really smooth. They're a lot smoother than the ones up here. How about you in the back?
I've actually seen a skeleton
Snake skeleton. Some people buy them as office decorations, like a mounted snake display, because it looks cool. Put that over there. How about you over there at the hat?
If you were to guess about how many saddles are on his guy.
Oh, geez. Those saddles there?
100 million.
A lot. I've never been bored enough to count his saddles. I just know he has a bunch of them. But yeah, I can't give you a number there.
I think he has 100 million.
Counting like one by one. How about you?
If like say two snakes are fighting each other, if one like comes up, will it be vulnerable on his belly?
On his belly? Well, it's a little hard. Well, I guess I should say that snakes are pretty vulnerable just kind of all over because they don't have any claws or anything like that. Pretty much the only combative end that they have is the exhaust port for pooping and the forward part because that's where their bitiness is. Their bitiness is where they can bite from. But the rest of their body is pretty vulnerable. However, their flexibility comes into play there because that way they can turn their head and get to whatever is, like I can be messing with him over here and he'd be able to reach with his head. Does that make sense? No, when snakes fight each other though, because remember I said the males are bigger in this particular genus? It's because the males wrestle with each other for females. So the bigger males are the ones that usually win out. And the way snakes fight is basically arm wrestling without any arms. What they'll do is they'll just wrap themselves around the other snake and like they'll just be wrapped around each other and whoever out squeezes the other one wins. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the bigger and stronger one usually out squeezes the other, or the healthier one. How about you in the pink?
How long will a snake survive without food or water?
Well, it depends on the snake. I know a female rattlesnake, if it's like real, like hydrated and well fed, then it can go like 2 years without eating, just living on water. Water is pretty important though. There's a lot of animals that can't go super long without water, but I can guarantee you that a snake can go a lot longer without water than a person can. Like we need water. We need, what is this? Have you heard that survival for dinner or anything? It just eats once a week. Free up a lot of time. Y'all know how that is.
Yes.
How about you over there? Have you ever seen a coral snake? I've seen them in pictures, but I've never actually seen one in person. Coral snakes are pretty cool. Did you know that Texas has its own species of coral snake? It's just called the Texas coral snake. It got its own species status a few years ago. It's kind of neat. It's a real pretty coral snake. Raise your hand if you know what the coral snake is. Raise your hand if you don't know what a coral snake is. Coral snakes are a member of snake in the family Elapidae. Can y'all say Elapidae?
Elapidae.
You know what snakes are in the family Elapidae? Cobras and mambas and like taipans, those old world venomous snakes. And the only North American representative of it is the coral snake. It's also highly venomous. It's the second most venomous snake in Texas. But they're small and they're real pretty. They eat other snakes as a regular part of their diet. And I mean, if you want to know what a coral snake looks like, they're just kind of a small 2-foot long snake, real skinny, and they have bright red, black, and yellow bands going all the way around their body. They're just a real pretty snake. And the Texas coral snake, what makes it a little different from the eastern or the Sonoran coral snakes, is that the Texas one on the red, it's got little flecks of black, like spots and speckles on the red part. So it's like extra kind of dark and maroon colored. It's really cool. I'm sure you've seen them before in books. How about you?
Is a black mamba the deadliest snake in the world?
Well, it depends on what you would consider the deadliest snake in the world. I think the most venomous is one of the banded sea kraits, or like a sea snake. And the one that's considered the most dangerous is I think it's like a brown taipan or inland taipan in Australia. And the reason it's considered the most dangerous isn't because it's the most venomous, it's because it's a snake that's venomous and not necessarily aggressive, but quick to defend itself, and it's found around a lot of people. So it's got like the proximity to a lot of people, and it happens to be a snake that can be real bitey if you're messing with it. So that's why it would be considered the most dangerous. But yeah, black mambas can be really dangerous too. I know my snake spiel that I like to tell kids is he's a good snake, right? Look at him, he's behaving other than getting him a scarf and stuff. He's been a pretty well-behaved snake. Are there any bad snakes out there?
Yes.
Let me rephrase that. Are there any dangerous snakes out there?
Yes.
Just because something's dangerous, does that mean it's bad?
No.
No, it's like snakes are actually a really beneficial animal, and they're just a key part of the ecosystems that you find them in. Snakes do a lot for us, and they do a lot for other animals. Like for us, they help control a lot of the rodent population. And for other animals, they're a food source. Take a look at this thing. Is this basically a living spaghetti noodle?
Yes.
Would it be easy to swallow if you were like a bird?
No.
Are you sure? Because I mean, like if you're a bird, you'd just go over here, you'd bite the head, and then you could just like swallow the rest of it. Like, have you ever heard of a thing called a roadrunner?
Yeah, I've
Like to
seen
eat-
it.
They like to eat snakes because what they'll do is they'll swallow them head first and then walk around with the rest of the snake hanging out, and as it digests, they'll just eat snake on the back. Yeah, so I mean, it's an easy thing to eat. There's a lot of animals out there that want to eat snakes. All right, I'll do a few more questions about snakes before moving on to the next one. How about you? Nah, the only snakes that we have are going to be North Texas, or not North Texas, but Texas natives. Like he's a North Texas native. I have a couple of West Texas natives over there. But yeah, they're all non-venomous. They're all real friendly snakes. They're, yeah, nothing too terribly big. Like our biggest snake is a bull snake. She's about 6.5 feet long. She's a pretty good size. And she's very well behaved. She's just wiggly. Like I used to take her out for big groups like this. But you think he's wiggly with getting him a scarf. Taurus, our bull snake, would just be like all over the place. And it'd just be a little hard to talk about her if she keeps wanting to climb all over you. All right, any other questions about him or just snakes in general? Nope. Oh wait, you got one?
Doesn't a python like wrap around you?
Yeah, I was going to say pythons are constrictors. And the thing about snakes eating people is that people are kind of hard to eat. Take your hand, do this. Wiggle your fingers. Now feel this thing. Now feel this thing. What are those?
Bones.
The shoulders. Not just any shoulders, they're flared shoulders. You got a little head over here, and then whoop, your shoulders jut out to the side, right? It makes it really hard to swallow for like large snakes. Usually when there's fatalities from like someone getting killed by a snake, like the snake isn't eating them, it's usually they just end up getting squished. And I've done a little research into it, and I've talked to a guy who's owned or raised big old pythons and stuff like that. The reason a lot of people end up getting squashed by snakes, like have you ever seen those big guys walking around with like a big old anaconda or something on them? They're showing off. I mean, they know that animal, but the thing is that animal is incredibly powerful. Like this guy, I already told you, if he wanted to, he could break my fingers right now. He's not going to do that because he's not a jerk. Those big giant snakes are a lot stronger than a person is ever going to be. And the thing is, let's say you're a big old snake, you're hanging out on like someone's shoulder, and you start slipping, like you feel like you're slipping. What's the snake going to do? It's going to hold on, right? It's going to be like, I'm slipping. It's going to hold on to whoever that they're on, and that's a really powerful holding on thing. And let's say you're the person being held onto. What's your first instinct if your snake starts like? You're going to be like, help, and you're going to try getting the snake off, right? And then what's the snake going to think? I'm falling again, got to hold on even harder. A lot of those people end up getting injured that way because like their snake is falling, is trying to hold on, they panic to try getting it off. And then the snake panics, and then everybody loses, basically. That's that. And as far as like snakes eating people, that really doesn't happen much because of the flared shoulders. It's just that the snake's going to eat you. It can get probably your head, but once it gets to the shoulder, do you think it would have like an easy time getting past that?
No.
Not really. Well, it's just a bad idea. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put Falfor back up. Everyone say bye, Falfor.
Bye,
And wave
Falfor.
it.